ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, and I'm taking higher.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week. Get on up, get a cup of Joe, and let's bleep and go. Even though it's a little cool back east, that's okay. Good way to start the week. And, of course, good friend and colleague, Mr. Bill Krackomberger, here live in Las Vegas, where it's 7:39, and it's 10:39 here, of course. Shout out to Elijah Cox, the best in the business. Thank you so much. The man behind the glass. And, of course, our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download that app. It is free. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Six flavors. The newest Lemon. And the East Coast is Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Go try one where you purchase your adult beverages. And last but never least, Terry Smith at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Jump on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith. While you're there, head on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Steaks, chops, appetizer, subscription plans, 4 of them. Start 2025 eating right. And use that promo code STEAKS10. Get 10% off the full order. Any questions, comments, concerns? The best customer service in the land, Terry Smith. Don't know if I'll have him today. I sent the link with him. Had surgery on Thursday. Don't know if he's up to speed. But I know who is the one and only, Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Busy weekend going on back in Las Vegas. The Circa cutting $1.7 million checks for the survivor. Congrats to everyone over there. I was following your timeline as well, almost having flashbacks to the Casino movie where it seemed there was some big winners there as well. Crazy weekend in Vegas, Billy.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know. Did they give the checks out yet?
They did, yeah, this weekend. Yeah.
Obviously, you can tell I didn't win. I would have known. I would have been there. But yeah, let me see what it's up to. Last week, I put that Gil and I on VSiN up to 181,000 views so far. It's not that it's a controversial subject, I guess. I'm going to read it to you. Last week, Las Vegas locally reported 2 different blackjack progressives were hit for 127,000 and 1.2 million. Neither player tipped $1. 8 people won 1.78. That's what it is, really. I think it's almost 1.8 million each in the Circa Survivor. Who do they tip? The Proxy, who put their plays in each week, the staff at the sports book, Derek Stevens. Like, who are you supposed to tip? So Gil and I talked about it, and I put a little tweet up there and got 181,000 views. People like talking about, well, at least I do. I love talking about the tip culture and the tip subject. And I grew up very blue collar myself, so I grew up being a tipper, and I grew up in tipping positions when I was younger too. So, I find myself sometimes being a little bit probably too generous, but it's just the way I love. It makes me feel so good inside. There's nothing that makes me feel better. Nothing makes me feel better than going to a restaurant and my waitress has a 13, a 14, and a 17-year-old, And she's so attentive and so good. And I had to get that out of her, by the way. She didn't volunteer it to me and crying that she's got kids. And she's so attentive and so good. And then what that means is she knows when she sees me, she brings me a diet soda and a backup with no ice. She knows that I like a certain type of lavash, the thin type of breads. And she knows to bring extra ones to them. And she knows to keep my waters filled. And it's just street smarts, common sense. So nothing makes me feel better than when I get my $100 check to leave her $200, and that $100 is so well appreciated, and it just goes so far for her, and it makes me just feel good, so good inside. And that, by the way, is certain things in town, certain tipping situations I like to do that with. But Jeff, you'll find it very weird maybe then. In gambling situations, maybe Bill Krackomberger is not such a good tipper. So what I mean by that, if you pool your tips, if I give $100 and you get a little grocery dollar out of it, I don't like doing it. I'd rather tip you outside where I know you get the money. Whenever there's tips being pulled, maybe some of those people I don't care for. Maybe they're burnt out. Maybe they're antiques. Maybe they don't want to be there. So if the casinos, if you went table for table, which that means you keep your own tips instead of splitting it in the pool with the rest of the dealers, some dealers would starve where others would flourish. So this tipping situation that we talked about here was a very sensitive, hot subject because it involves you're paying a proxy $100 an entry, I think it is, or so it's $1,000 for 10 entries or whatever it may be. Might be more actually even. You're paying a proxy, a fee for the year. You're not interacting with anyone else. You're not going to the circuit counter. You're not going and talking to people behind them. You're not getting, it's not like you're getting a sports ticket and being handed cash. So why do I have to tip the proxy? Why do I have to tip the people behind the counter who I've had no interaction with throughout the year, contest-wise? Now, people like Bill Krackomberger is held to a higher standard. I have to walk around this town. I have to live with these people. But let me just tell you something. Even winning the $1.8 million, and if you're going to give them $5,000, $10,000, they're still going to talk about you. You believe that cheap cracker? You believe he only gave us $5,000? But I got 33 1/3% taxes. I got other people maybe I'm partners with. I mean, there's not a lot of things that aren't taken into consideration. And by the way, I'm not saying not to tip the proxy and not to tip the guy behind the counter. All I'm saying is I need some reasons why. Do we just start handing money? Does Derek Stevens, he's the one that hands us the check. Do I give Derek a tip? Like what, I'm tipping a multi-billionaire. Like I'm just trying to, it's a sensitive subject. And like I said, I started out with telling you about how I do live my life and tip. I tip out thousands a month, thousands. I mean, this month I tip out 5,000. I love it. I love if I could change someone's life for a moment or something by giving them a tip they normally never get, $100 bill, or a valet guy that knows, hey, Crack, how you doing? Hey, your car will be right there. It's right there in that spot. Give them $25 on the weekend. I give 25 on the weekend. I give 10 or minimum 10, sometimes 20 though, even during the week. If I'm flush with it depends on my week and too. It's not. It depends on. I'm always tipping, but it depends if I'm in an extra special mood. If I'm going to dinner, though, I better be, or else I'm not going to dinner. I really don't. So anyway, it's a really different kind of situation here. You live in a tip town too. It's not like I'm living in New York City and seeing different people every day. I'm seeing this is a small town. We're very close to the sun in Las Vegas, so. Yeah, it's you have to see the same people. I go to the South Point, I go to the Wynn. Those certain people I'll take care of more. Like Slot jackpots, perfect example. If I hit a slot machine jackpot, which is $1,200 or more, and I play some pretty good promotions throughout the week, so I'm playing pretty high, playing like $50 a hand, video poker, and minimum. And so if I hit $1,200, it's very easy to be down money. It's very easy to be stuck $2,000 and hit a jackpot for $1,200. I'm losing $800. Slot attendant comes over and hands you the cash. What are you supposed to give the slot attendant? I'm down money. And here's what I feel. Pay your effing people more money. I mean, they're paying like $12, $13 an hour. You guys are making billions of dollars. Why am I on the hook to pay your slot people money? Now, granted, I do. Yesterday, I love this girl. She's so nice, and I know her. And sure enough, she comes over, and it's amazing. 12.05. I get 500 and I get $625 a week from a casino to come in every Saturday or Sunday. So I hit a $1,205 jackpot. I was up already about $500 anyway. So sure enough, I want to give her like a gift card or something that she can keep herself, But I know that they don't keep their own tips there. But there was only 4 girls on, so I had no problem giving her a $100 bill yesterday. I like the girls that were on, but it's probably too much. That's too much, If I'm down money at a big casino or something, and I hit a jackpot, just so that I'm walking over, I will have, you feel compelled to give them $5 or $10, even if you're losing. A little bit more if I'm winning, but. Look, we live in a tipping town, tipping culture, and it's just when's enough? What's enough? It's just this contest brings out, and the proxies got mad. I had a proxy get mad at me. Well, you're telling people not to tip. Well, listen to the whole show. I said, why? I just want to know why. Why you tip a proxy? Now, I have a great deal for a proxy, though. If you want to handle my 10 entries and don't take the money up front, I got a great deal for you. You could take 2% of what I have, maybe even more. Maybe I'll even give you a bigger percentage. So if I win the 1.8 million, I'll throw you 50,000. That's a great deal. I think that's a good deal. You get take 3% of what I make, but then you don't get no money for every week. Your weekly pick things. But that's kind of my take on things there, Jeff. What's your opinion? And Jeff, you're in these type of contests here in Vegas too, right? What is the fee for the proxies?
Well, I have so much to feed off of what you just said. As for growing up at the tracks, growing up at the race books, growing up at the casinos before the age of the apps, Crack, I'm a ticket guy. If I go to Las Vegas, if I go to the Encore, I go to Foxville, I love the idea of walking to the counter, placing the bet, and holding the physical ticket. That's part of the whole nostalgia here. And so you're spot on. They don't know if you're on a heater or I've just lost 9 out of the last 10. I just popped you for 3 dimes, and now you got your hand out like I'm down 6 units here, 6 dimes here, and I'll always leave them something. But as you said, they don't know if you're up, down, no idea. So that's number one. But I do believe in karma. I always leave something, no matter if I'm up big, down big. I always do that. That's number one. Number two, the proxy service usually get 300 for the first entry, and then they'll cut you a deal to 200 or 150 for every entry after that. So let's use this circa for example. $1.78 million each winner got. So 10% is 178,000. You could have 4, 5, 6, 7 other people with their hands out. You got to pay the taxes. Yada yada yada. You had 8 other losing entries. That's something there. All right. So now 5%. Let's round it up. That's 90,000. That's not happening. So I love your thought process here. Don't charge me for my 10 entries. I'll give you 1, 2, or 3% if I'm feeling froggy. So I'm just going to ask you, and every winner is different. My gut would say minimum would be, let's give the proxy 10 dimes, 10,000. Am I out of line to say that? But the proxy's going to say, you just hit 1.78 and you're giving me what? I can just see it because 1% is 17.8 thousand. So maybe they rounded it up and gave him 20,000. Any thoughts here, Billy?
Listen to me. Oh, boy, I don't want to sound. There's just no way. If people are giving $17,800, Bill Krackomberger is going to be in the proxy business next year. No, if you really are, if that's the deal, and you handle that, I mean, there's just. It's almost like I'm speechless because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't in this situation. I told you I started out with it and showed you how I live my life. I live my life to tip. I love tipping, but these situations where I'm paying you already. It's going directly in your pocket. It's not going in the company's pocket, and you live off the tips. Now, to be blunt, I just thought of something. So if there's someone working for the proxy service that's taking the phone call or the text and putting the plays and has to be that accurate, that works for the service, maybe you throw them a couple $100 that goes directly in their pocket and not the owner of the proxy service. I could see that, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But do I go to the restaurant and tip the place that's charging me for the meal? No, I tip the person that works for them and is servicing me. So it's a very gray area. It's a thin blue line. You're on a tightrope here talking about this. Like I said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I got the proxies mad at me, but I got the waitresses and waiters happy. That's all I can tell you. That's my own opinion. Anyone can do anything. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm willing to bet a large amount of money that there are some of these teams that do not tip everybody, the counter and the proxy service. And I understand why. The counter. Now, why do the people at the counter get tipped in this situation? Why do they have to get a tip? I tip them, by the way. Every time I cash out of my app, I ask for money, I leave a tip behind. Every time I cash a physical ticket, I leave a tip. So, I love tipping. I love tipping the casino employees too. But there's a part of me that says these rat hole casinos should tip more too. And a perfect example. Let me give you an example. A buddy of mine who watches your show sometimes, Richard. I don't know if he's here this morning. He had a couple late nights these last few nights. So Rich said, "Hey, Bill, I have a question for you. I'm at a casino back east. I tried placing a bet. Okay. Told me it's not legal in this location. I told him you have to toggle the switch. Anyway, thanks. Did not know that. Okay. I told him you're in a giant factory that has busted more people than most. They operate under, if you build it, we will come. So now he's telling me my cousin's betting 500 a hand at BJ, lost 8,000, and they went to go get a comp, and they said no comp. And I was like, what? I see. He said, yeah. They said no. His play was too short. The pit boss said he lost $8,000. I said, that's crazy. Do you imagine the pit boss just turned down a guy that lost $8,000? An exception comp is warranted. In other words, they can write out an exception comp. You lost $8,000. They could literally write you out a comp for $100 without no one will even question it. The guy coming and lost $8,000. He won $15,000 last trip. Maybe that had something to do with it. I said they had people making decisions that if it weren't for casinos, they'd be selling shoes in South Philly. And I'm dead serious. These people that are working in casinos, making decisions for people at the table, if it wasn't for casinos, they'd be shoe salesmen. What would they be doing? What would they be doing? What's their qualifications? I mean, how can you turn down anything? How do you turn down people that lose $8,000 playing? Atlantic City, even Connecticut, up where you guys are. It's funny. I was up there too at what is that casino overlooking like where the town was made, which I love that movie. Anyway, there's a casino up there. They just hold people to a higher standard and just think that the economy is doing so good, they don't have to give back. They don't have to give comps. They don't have to do this and do that. And I just can't take it. A lot of these people that are working in the casinos and turning you down and being nasty and are burnt out, they just wish they could be in your shoes, and they were the ones that are gambling. A lot of them go broke and stuff themselves every week and blow all the money they make. But I always say this to them: let them try to be on our side of the counter. Let them try to get up in the morning and not have a paycheck coming in and have to depend on gambling and beating sports books and getting paid and juggling, 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. It's tough. It's tough. So, but so it's all these different things that you hear throughout the week. I'm going to be talking about that guy not giving the comp, and just demand more. Go over people's heads. Go over the pit boss's heads. Go to the casino manager. Go to the director of operations. Bust everyone's balls if you have to. You're not asking for something but it could be a sickness too, though. You lose $8,000, and here you want a $75 comp, and you say to yourself, "What am I doing? Arguing, getting myself upset, giving myself agita, giving yourself heartburn, and just go pay for your meal and just don't come back to the place." But you let someone like me know, so I let them know, because you want to let them know that they lost that type of business over a stupid. By the way, that comp, let's say it's $100, it doesn't cost the casino $100. It costs the casino about $30. So for 30 grocery dollars, you sent away a guy that has $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 swings every time he's in your casino, and they're going to go somewhere else next time. So,
Billy, good transition here. Minnesota and the Rams scheduled to play in LA due to the wildfires. Prayers obviously go out to LA, and the state of California moved to Arizona. Game moved to Monday night. Now, lots of times, if it's not played on the same team, you'll get the void immediately. You got some people that if it's played in an 8-day window, it's still alive. Any thoughts there? It's one day because of, I'm using the word tragedy, a natural disaster, I guess is the word. Some people voided immediately. The house rules. We always talk about make sure you know your house rules.
Yeah. There's casinos here in town that counted the original bet. If you made a parlay or a teaser or something with it, they count that bet. So, and then there's a lot of them. The majority, I'd say about 80% of them cancel the bet. Has to be played the same date, same venue. But there is casinos here like Circa. Circa counted the bet. So Circa, if you played it at Circa, it's still a bet. Now the line's 2.5. It was 1. So I know a guy that's sharp enough that he thought it might get changed, the venue, and canceled. So he immediately bet the money line at Circa because it was minus $1.15. And sure enough, for a max bet, and sure enough, he's smart because now it's minus. You could take $1.28 at Circa. That's how much money he bet. He bet a lot of money, tens and tens of thousands, because he thought that why not take a shot? I mean, it's a good chance it was going to move. So, yeah, you have to check your tickets, and I don't know how bad of a move this is. I guess for the team itself, physically, have to go to LA. I'm sorry, I have to leave LA and go to Arizona and get a hotel and practice on their facility. So I guess it's like a road game for them too. But the fan support anyway in LA, it's like Florida. They're like almost fly-by-night fans. They're not, fair weather fans sometimes. It seems like every time I go to a game in LA or even Florida, it's 50%. First of all, there's not a lot of fan participation, and there's not a lot of homers. It seems like it's a mixed crowd. Now, granted, for the playoffs, it'll be a little bit better. There probably would have been a good portion of the people that were LA fans, of course. But it doesn't probably hurt them as much as people think. This Minnesota too. People are against them. They think Darnold, after having a 14-win season, people are so tough. We're so tough on Sam Darnold. My God, and so tough on Minnesota after 1 week. Boy, I'll tell you, I'm interested to see what happens in this game tonight because people are really People are really tough on Minnesota team that their season wins was 6.5 wins and they won 14. And they just think Sam Darnold's the same person that was on the Jets. He had a hell of a season. Granted, last week he overthrew those receivers in the beginning. I think he had, I don't know, maybe he had some jitters against a really good Detroit team. And that's bad if he did. That's bad if he was in that pressure situation and he did. But we'll see what happens. If LA pressures him and makes him keep the ball past 2.5 seconds, it's trouble for him. If he's able to get back in the pocket and release the ball under 3 seconds, he's going to have a good night. So we'll see what happens.
Last question before I get to the last question. All the favorites came running in the Final Four. The close games, though, late move, turnovers, et cetera, scooping scores, yada, yada, yada there. The favorites came into the NFL, into the wild card weekend, all but Washington. Washington upsets Tampa. Baltimore, Buffalo opened at 1. It is now a pick at the Superbook. Baltimore has now gone to -1.5 on DraftKings. Detroit opened at 10.5, now 8.5 at the Circa versus Washington. The Chiefs and Mahomes. Mahomes will be almost a month since he finally played. Opened at 7.5, now 8. Did you buy anything early? Anything really catch your eye for next weekend's NFL games, Billy?
I'm looking at DraftKings, Buffalo -102. We have that's a really good line if you like Buffalo. And the +1.5 -20, but I'd rather go with the probably the pick 'em there. I leaned to Buffalo a little bit in that game, just because they're home. If they were in Baltimore, I'd lean to Baltimore. So they're saying Baltimore is that much better of a team. They're a -1.5. They're that much better of a team that they're in Buffalo. And listen, you got the 2 top quarterbacks in the league this year, 2 MVPs there. Lamar Jackson's unbelievable this year. Great season again. He's won the MVP multiple times. Well, I think twice he won it. And then you have Allen, who's having a heck of a season too. But you'll be shocked maybe to know this. I'm just not. I'm not. Maybe I'm just an NFC fan. I just think that this kid Mahomes finds ways to win, and in the big spotlight, he has the edge there. So I kind of like my tickets on KC to win the Super Bowl. I don't think the Rams or Minnesota is going anywhere. I don't think Houston's going anywhere. I think Washington was a little bit of a fluke last night. The Lions, looking at the Lions, I do like. I do like what they've done. They're very aggressive, but I'm not rooting for them either. Let me tell you, excuse me. Westgate opened up 10.5 out here last night. Westgate at 10.5. That's a hell of a number, right? We kind of knew it was a hell of a number on. I give the Westgate all the credit in the world too. They're the first sports book in Vegas to come up with a line. They really do. They have some balls. They take bets over there. They open them. It's Bet Online in Costa Rica. It's Chris. It's DraftKings, FanDuel, and in Vegas, Westgate. That's it. Westgate opens up the lines first. Now listen, I may get upset at every sports book. I'll get upset at something. Every one of them. Even everyone says Circa and this and that. I kind of get upset when I go into Circa and I go to the counter and I ask how much comps do I have built up. I've never taken a comp in my life, and I have less than $400, and I bet millions and millions and millions of dollars there throughout the year. So, and then I go to Westgate and they say, Bill, you got $6,000. You go to any restaurant you want. I go to South Point and they say, Bill, your account, we're not even giving you nothing extra, and just based on your account, your volume, you have $2,500. Go to any restaurant you want. I go to Circa and I can go to Barry's maybe, and I might have to even pay. So they tip to a much lower standard of anyone that has a pulse. So I get listen. I love Derek. They do such things right. Look at the sports book. You go in there, it's the holy grail. It's beautiful. It's a sports book. It's a sports bettor's paradise. Look at the contest they have. How about this? There's no juice. There's zero juice. Imagine you're playing these contests, these multi-million-dollar giveaways, 15 million, 20, I mean, with no juice. It costs them money to run those contests. Now, granted, it's great. It's great promotions for them, and it's great for. How about this? It's great for them to be able to hold $100 million and of everyone's money too, or whatever it is. I'm not gonna say 100 million, but they get to hold all that money and put it in the bank. But that doesn't still cover even the interest they're getting. Doesn't cover their cost of running such a contest and stuff like that. So there's pluses and minuses everywhere. And if anyone is too sensitive about that and gets mad at me, you should look at the big picture. I can't just always kiss your ass about everything, I have to tell it like it is a little bit. That's what Bill Krackomberger is, And if something's wrong with a customer or something's wrong with someone's mad about something, the way they were treated or something, I'll address for them. I like to be their voice because, I like to be a little bit of a voice for Joe Public because I am Joe Public. So there you go.
Grab bag question of the week, Dave Portnoy. Everyone knows one bite. Everyone knows the rules. Billy, you're in Las Vegas. You're an East Coast guy like myself. Give us a couple spots for a slice of pizza or a pie back east and, of course, in Las Vegas.
I just seen his what he did for that guy in Baltimore. He said, you want to close your pizza's good. Why are you closing down? And he gave him the $60,000 out of his pocket. I liked that. Even though people say, well, that's like $1 to me or you. Really? Are you giving away your money to people that So like I said, helping people, and that goes a long way with me. I'm actually a Portnoy fan now. I was a little bit tough on him because, when he owned this sports book, he didn't know what he was talking about, going after customers that like myself, and and the words choices that he had for people that were betting and knew what they were doing a little bit. I just didn't like it because he didn't do a deep dive into it. He just talked about it. It was and sometimes he's a little bit cocky and arrogant the way he comes off. However, I'll throw all that aside. I'll eat all that because he's a very generous guy. I've watched him help people during the pandemic and help pizza businesses and do what he did here. And he's actually funny too, some of the things he does too. And I like that he sticks up for himself when the girls were going after him for sexual abuse. I like that. He stuck up for himself and, he's not part of this cancel culture, DEI BS. So I'm really happy about that. So on we go. I have my same places when I'm back there. It's funny. I really couldn't find a good pizza when I was over there in the North End. And not like there was that Regina Pizza. I guess the actual location, that was good. But I guess I was in Foxwoods. I didn't think it was that good, the Regina Pizza in Foxwoods. So, but, New York, I love John's of Bleecker. I love, which is an old school place that has the grandfathered in oven there in the city. My favorite is the Square Pie over in Brooklyn on 86th, LMB Spumoni Gardens. That's my favorite pizza. Probably, boy, I tell you, is it my number one? It might be. I love their pizza. I love that Square Pie over there. A couple places on Staten Island have that too. But New Haven is my go-to place that's my style of pizza I like. Frank Pepe's and there's a couple other ones there too. I know that, and Sally's and Modern, and I go to a place in West Haven, Zapardi's. They have a good pizza in Zapardi's too. So that's my places there. Here, some buddies of mine that do a podcast. They just did a podcast and they went around town. I like what they did. They went to Pizza Rock downtown and got the New York pie. I like that. That's a good pizza downtown. They also went up to Summerlin and to my buddy Al's, Dom DeMarco's. They went up there and they had their Dom DeMarco had the famous pizza place in New York City. I'm sorry, in Brooklyn. And for years he was from Italy. And oh my God, he had the great. And Portnoy gave him a 9.3. I think it was 9.3 on his review. So we have one here that Al actually went to and studied under Dom DeMarco, who recently passed away, and literally had their pizza down pretty good. But you just have to order it well done. I like their square pie. And also, he makes a pizza with cauliflower crust, which I would never try. Cauliflower, get down, take it out of it. Just so happens that I was at a table that someone ordered that, and I had a slice of it. I couldn't believe it. It reminds me of the New Haven pizza. It's real thin, crispy cracker crust. I thought it was really good. It shocked me. Cauliflower pizza. I never heard of nothing like that. But yeah, so what else here? We have a place in Chinatown, believe it or not. It's that Neapolitan style of pizza. As a matter of fact, the kids that did the podcast, Miles to Memories, that was their number one of the 10 they tried. They gave it like 9.4 each. It is called Double Zero Pie, and it's just a Neapolitan round, the round style with that. I'm trying to think of they have this oven that they literally at the end, when they finish off the pizzas, they put it next to the flame and to get that charred, crisp crust. But again, the middle is a little bit too soft for me, but I still love the place. I've been there. I thought their pizza was very good. I'm not one to try these funky pizzas. Like we have a couple places downtown that everyone likes that I don't really, I went to Evil Pie and it's like, I just want a slice of pizza. They got like crazy toppings and different things. And, people are putting honey and, drizzling things. And who puts ranch on pizza? What are you, 16? I mean, who puts ranch on pizza? I don't know where these people come from. California? I don't get it. So anyway, there's a couple for you.
Billy, always a pleasure. You start our week. I get so many emails, DMs. You're the best in the business. It's just a breath of fresh air. Not one of our shows are ever scripted or ever will be scripted.
No.
It's just, we started on tipping to pizza to the meat and potatoes, the NFL in between. You never know what we're going to get here. Scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone knows on X to find you at Bill Crackman, but everyone wants to know where they can get all your work the rest of the week, your podcast, your app, yada, yada, yada.
It's at Bill Crackman on Twitter, at Crackwins also, at Crackwins website, at Fox Sports Radio on the weekends, countdown to kickoff. We're year-round now, 7 to 10 a.m. Vegas time on Sundays. Also, VSiN on Thursday mornings. My podcast you can find on YouTube at Crackwins. There you go.
Billy, have a week. Thank you so much. Love you to death, and we'll catch up with you on Monday.
Thank you, buddy. See you.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
The one and only Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Go follow him at Bill Crackman. Go check out his app at Crackwins. I never know what we're going to get. I really don't, but he tells it like it is. And the tipping is so huge. Think about everyone watching and listening. It's standing room only right now on X. And you just won $1.78 million. And yeah, you paid the service to put every one of those picks in. I get all that. But there is kind of a rule that now what do you tip them? What do you tip them? We're going to go to a commercial break, and then we're going to wrap it up. Stay tuned. What a way to start the week. Shout out to Slim Shady, Amber Harley, Richard Poplis. Great show Mondays with Bill, K, Jeff, Emil, Danny in Canada. The list is endless. I can't thank you guys enough. I talked to Billy after the show last week. We're going to do everything in our power to make this a year round like Fox Sports Radio did. It's not easy, guys. It's not. There's a lot of commitment on both sides. So I keep your fingers crossed that we're going to run this straight through to next football season and to 2026, yada, yada, yada. 5 p.m., the closing bell with Riley Magnuson. We're going to do our re-entry Monday. We're going to get you caught up on what happened on the weekends. A lot of one NFL game. Currently, Minnesota 2.5 with a 48 against the Rams. Kansas City 8 and a 41.5 on Saturday against Houston. Detroit opened at 10.5, now 8.5 with a 55.5. So rolled the ball out. First one to 30-35 wins that game. Philly waiting the winner, obviously, of Minnesota and the Rams. And then Baltimore and Buffalo. Buffalo opened at 1. Ones and pick'ems across the board right now. DraftKings now has the Ravens -1.5. Here's the funny 51.5. I had like a 55 in my head, like the Detroit game is. So the over under a little shorter than I thought it would be. And of course, Amber, next Monday, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State now 8 with a 45.5 there. Good friend, Mr. Calvin Smith, 1 win away from almost $500,000. Shout out again to Elijah Cox. It's cold back east. Stay warm. Eat those vitamins. Stay hydrated. We'll see you back at 5 o'clock. Thank you.